people to show up, maybe. So, enjoy my makeupless face. Cool. I really don't think many people will join, as usual. Not a lot of people do, that's fine. So, I'ma just get into it. I know, so this month I'm supposed to be discussing Limitless by Alan Glynn for my book club. Well Read Till I'm Dead. We are on Facebook. I will send links later, or actually I can do that now. And, you can join our book club if you like to read. Okay, there's my... that in there. And if you are rewatching my video on Facebook or not on Facebook or YouTube, I will have a link to that in the description below, so you can find my book club more easily. We do monthly book discussions, we have book tic-tac-toe, and a yearly reading challenge that results in a giveaway. So, month of January, I did not do a discussion at all for Disappearing Earth by Julia Phillips. This book right here, and that's what my book club read for the month of January. We did not, I did not do a stream or a discussion here for it because I didn't finish it. I was the one few people who actually didn't like the book. Nearly everybody else in my book club enjoyed the book. We had a discussion about it. I still posed discussion questions for it, but since I didn't finish it and I looked up like the ending and everything in between, I did think it was right for me to host a discussion and give my opinions about something I didn't finish reading. So, that is why I didn't do that. So, for the month of January, we read Disappearing Earth for December, but I don't do a stream for it until January. So, the book that we read for January was Limitless by Alan Glynn. It's February 22nd, 23rd, when I'm uploading this. Been real late doing that. My beginning of February was super busy, and then because I live in Texas, you know, everybody knows I made national news, you know, ERCOT and power outages. So then I couldn't stream for about a week. So I was like, okay, I'll do it today. So get that out of the way. Oh, and I don't have a book to present to you for Limitless of Alan Glynn, because I read it on my tablet, and can't really show you a tablet screen without it looking weird on a camera. So I'm just going to read the synopsis. The synopsis is: a burnout of 35 months behind on his book, low on cash, and something of a loser, Eddie Spinola used a shot in the arm. One day he randomly runs into Vernon, his ex-wife's brother, and his ex-dealer. Now employed by a shadowy pharmaceutical company, Vernon has something that might help, a new designer drug that stimulates brain function. One pill and Eddie is hooked. His book is finished within days. He learns and synthesizes information at a frightening rate, and he can go a long time without sleep or food. Naturally, he begins to play the stock market, but when Vernon turns up dead, Eddie makes off with the only stash of the drug in his existence. Then come the side effects, blackouts, blinding headaches, and violent outbursts that he can't seem to remember. Alan Glynn's Limitless is a high-concept thriller for this Adderall age, and a haunting meditation on the allure and the curse of human potential. So honestly, I found this book pretty difficult to read. At first, I was really intrigued with it. I liked the idea of like a new drug that can improve humans' existence and capability. But as it got further along, like it's a a pretty big portion of the book is dedicated to him being high on this drug and playing with the stock market. And that wasn't really interesting to me. I was rather bored. The concept is interesting. I just feel like it fell flat personally. And I think a lot of people in my book club felt the same about it. So, just gonna jump right into it and pose the questions that I sent to my book club. I'm gonna read the answers, give my thoughts and opinions, and then I'm also going to read some reviews that were left by my book club members, and there was about 2 or 3 reviews that was left. So, first question I asked is how is MDT, that's the drug. Oh, hi Coraline, how's it going? You missed my introduction and the synopsis, so oh well, I'm not gonna repeat it all. So the first question I asked is, how is MDT similar to the unprescribed Adderall and its effects, and how is it different? So MDT is the drug. I believe it's MDT 48 that the drug is in the book. It's a pill. So how is it similar to Adderall and how is it different? I have 2 replies from 2 different people saying, I hadn't really thought about how these could be compared. I know students use Adderall to help them stay awake and study more. That is very true. So on the aspect of being able to increase their knowledge, Adderall and MDT would be similar. I think the 2 drugs differ in the way that they act on the body. From my understanding, Adderall doesn't increase the brain's function so much as to help stimulate it, which would help them stay awake for longer periods, allowing them to spend an increased time studying. Whereas MDT increased the rate at which the connections were made in the brain, making it so a person with an average IQ may have significantly higher IQ while taking the drug. And then somebody else responded, in my head, it's a mental stimulant. It takes everything you have and utilizes it, and which is why there are such detrimental effects of not taking it. I've never taken Adderall, but I imagine that perhaps the effects are lessened, but similar. So, for those of you who don't know, unprescribed Adderall is a stimulant. It's an amphetamine, not a methamphetamine, an amphetamine. It is similar but different structurally. I don't know how much different it is when the body processes it. I am not a chemist, so I don't know a lot about how much methamphetamine and amphetamine differ, but it is a stimulant. Students do use it to stay awake, to study more. People will take it before taking a test, and because they think it makes them do better on their tests. Let's see. A lot of people use it to be more productive, like if you're a cleaner or you really want to just like clean your whole house, people will take Adderall to just stay awake and be able to stay focused on whatever task is at hand. And I don't know if I watched a documentary about this or if I saw it on like a commercial for another show about Adderall, but some people who are involved in sports do use Adderall to perform better in whatever sport that they're doing, so they can focus more, work harder, be better. Although I don't know how effective it is actually in making your performance better in sports. It definitely keeps you awake. It is a stimulant. It can kind of make you narrow focus onto whatever task that you have at hand. So MDT is similar, that it does stuff like that. like the first comment said, it's not so much that it's a stimulant, it's more like it makes better neural connections. That's kind of what the book is about. You're able to process information that you wouldn't normally be able to process, or the amount of information you can process. Whereas with Adderall, sure, you may be able to hyper focus on whatever subject is at hand, but I don't think you could learn more than what you're already capable of. It just makes it where you can focus better, if you will. And I don't know about Adderall side effects, but MDT had some pretty serious side effects. There was the mind-splitting headaches, blacking out, vertigo, bouts of violent behavior, which you don't remember, and severe withdrawal effects that can actually make you die because your body is now reliant on this drug. And then another question I asked was how Adderall is abused today. I kind of already mentioned that, but I'm going to read some comments here. Students use Adderall to stay awake longer for periods of time and increase their focus during that time. It enables them to do better than they might in a normal circumstances in their academics. Somebody else responded, I have friends who abuse Adderall as a stimulant and antidepressant. I think the feeling of being limitless is addicting. So, amphetamine, which is what is found in Adderall, not only can it be used to treat ADHD, people with narcolepsy will take it. It can help with obesity, although I don't know if doctors actually prescribe Adderall to get people to lose weight, because I imagine that's pretty dangerous. And again, people in sports, there are a bunch of medical students that take Adderall because of the amount of studying that they have to do, or people who work long hours and then have to do school. It's very common. It's more common than what most people would think on how people take and use Adderall. And then I asked, would you take NDT? Why or why not? And would you take it if it had no side effects? Had 2 comments on this one as well. They said, if MDT had no adverse side effects, I would probably take it. In my profession, being able to think clearly and understand things well is a benefit that helps save lives. With an aid like MDT, I might actually be able to go further in my career. Instead of just helping to diagnose and treat patients, I might be able to go the extra step into research and development of new tests. Somebody else replied, no, no, no. I don't feel like there's anything with no adverse side effects, which I agree with. If this is a hypothetical situation there were really no side effects, humans would have already made that a normal habit of humanity. And it's actually quite interesting. So caffeine is a stimulant. Very few people in the world do not use caffeine on a regular day-to-day basis. And it's one of the stimulant drugs we willingly give to children in the form of soda. So it's really interesting how our society and just the world is built on caffeine alone. So if there was something like MDT, there's so many things like space exploration and medical advances and so many other types of advances that would happen if we had a drug that could increase our mental capabilities without any side effects. It'd be kind of crazy. I want to say no, I wouldn't take MDT if it didn't have side effects. But again, very few things that have drugs don't have side effects, so I'd be very apprehensive if somebody tried to sell me this drug saying it doesn't have any side effects. Nearly everything does. Caffeine has side effects, and everybody uses it, so there's that. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm sure there, doctors and nurses who work, especially right now with the pandemic going on and being understaffed and having beds filled, a lot of doctors and nurses are probably on heavier stimulants besides just caffeine. So I imagine if there was something out there that was a stimulant but also like increased neural connectivities and had no side effects, it would be widely used and there would be crazy developments as humankind that we would see. And then, this one isn't a question, it's just like a discuss this quote. I was haunted by the notion of how easily and irreversibly a careless decision, a mood, a whim, can change the direction of a person's life. Someone responded, I love it. It's absolutely true. Even recently in my personal life, I have experienced some of the biggest life changes due to the smallest actions or reactions. So in the terms of drugs, I think everybody has tried something once or twice at a party or whatnot. And if you don't really know anything about it, it can, like if you're drinking at a party and you need a way home, you might be drinking and driving, how dangerous that is and how that situation could change your life or somebody else's life who's also on the road. Just the smallest of decisions that we make, what we put in our body, can really have big impacts. And another discuss this quote. If human behavior was all about synapses and serotonin, then where did free will fit into the picture? Where did personal responsibility end and brain chemistry begin? And this is a really interesting question. I'm hopefully a medical student sometime soon. And our biological needs, everything we want and desire, literally does come down to hormones that are released in our brain, synaptic functions, and all those things. You're literally a brain in a meat machine. I need a drink. So, I don't know if there is such thing as free will. There were a couple, I don't know if it was a study or something like I watched in a show and they were trying to like amp it up and make it like creepy. That your brain makes a decision for you before you even realize you yourself has made the decision. Before you're consciously aware of making a decision, your brain makes the decision before you realize a decision is made. And there's like a pretty significant like time in between those things. So who knows? And it's also something to discuss about drug addiction. There are people born with susceptibilities to be more easily addicted to drugs than other people. So, whether your mom did drugs while you were in the womb, or everybody in your family smoked cigarettes at some point in their life, or were alcoholics, or whatever, if you come from a family of addicts, whether you have been exposed to those drugs previously or not, like your body, not just like around it, you're more likely to become addicted to those drugs themselves. So, it's kind of an interesting question. Somebody replied to this quote saying, if that were the case, if brain function was based off of a chemical routine rather than chemical variances, I believe humans would have found a way to control ourselves and each other. I mean, we're doing a pretty damn good job at fucking making AIs and whatnot that are intelligent and may even have feelings. Or might already have feelings, and we just don't register it as being feelings because they were created by us rather than natural. Who's to say that we have free will or we don't? And then I posed, if you have seen Limitless, the movie, compare and contrast the books. Somebody responded, "Love the book. Obviously, the details make the story, but I also love that nothing was played up or overutilized for attention in the book." I didn't enjoy the book. I was bored most of the time. I knew that there was a movie before I knew that there was a book. I really don't think I will actively search out to go watch the movie. But if it's just like, hey, somebody, you want to watch this movie? Okay, sure, why not? No, I'm not really interested. And then I asked what was Alan Glynn's purpose with writing the book, and one of my members said, "I don't know. Maybe put the idea in people's minds that not everyone is truthful about who they are and how they accomplish what they're doing." I don't know anything about Alan Glynn, but anytime somebody writes about a serious topic such as drugs and drugs addiction, I feel like Alan Glynn might have experienced drug addiction himself, or he knows somebody who has, or alcoholism, and okay, sure, but what if there was a drug that improved human society? I think that's a question that a lot of people pose, especially in the medical field, especially pharmaceuticals, because a lot of companies push these drugs to solve problems while they have negative effects themselves. And I think, especially in America, the amount of people who are on prescribed drugs, I think a lot of people are looking for a drug, a pill, or something to just make them feel better. So if something like MDT came around, I think it would be easily accepted, specifically in America. And then I asked if you enjoyed the book, why or why not, and will you continue the series? I'm not going to. I didn't enjoy the book. I'm not going to read the rest of the series. Somebody said that they loved it, that they will read the rest of the series, and then another person's like, that they are the worst and they procrastinated too long, but they ended up DNFing this book. So DNFing is did not finish, actively choosing to not finish a book. I really could have done without the crash courses on every topic that came up in the book, and I agree, especially when he went into everything about trading. I work in the finance sector, and I don't want to read that stuff in my downtime. So don't blame it. It was definitely the amount of detail that went into like the stock market sort of thing definitely kind of broke you out of this fantasy. And I try to read 30 minutes a day, and it was hard to read those 30 minutes a day to finish Limitless for me personally. So now I'm just going to read some reviews that people left. This is one person's review. I gave this book 3 stars. This book takes you on an interesting ride. The idea of a drug that enhances a person's cognitive function intrigues me. Having seen the movie years ago, this book was not quite what I expected. I enjoyed following Eddie through his experience with MDT. The end surprised me. I enjoyed the diverse characters that Eddie interacted with in the story. Watching him rise from a washed-out writer to a profiting day trader in so little time got me thinking about how much of our brains we don't use, and what life could possibly be like if we were able to use all of our brains on a daily basis. Glad I listened to the audiobook. Another review, very short. Loved this book, recommended it to a few people after finishing it. What I loved the most is that though exaggerated, I felt like I had been in those situations of extreme motivation versus extreme desperation, even within days of each other. Loved, 5 stars. And the last review left, it says, Limitless by Alan Glynn was interesting read and another example of a book being far superior to the film. It took me some time to get into it. I don't know if it was the writer or that it took too long to get going, but after his addiction began taking over and the writer introduced a criminal aspect, it kind of turned into a crime drama. Around this time, Eddie has a shift in his personality and begins to act more like an antagonist. I'm a huge fan of the way it ends. Eddie discovering that he was being watched and basically an experiment made me think of how the Twilight Zone from the 60s would usually end, with the revelation that the main character had no power the entire time. I was curious how it would end up, and I think it was the best way to end a story like this. And that was also something really interesting I didn't really pose in any of my questions, was about it was an experiment. That kind of part is really interesting, and I would like to hear from somebody else who read it. I don't think I want to read it myself and find out about why was Eddie being watched for taking these drugs. Who are these people? Is it a pharmaceutical company? Are they trying to develop it and actually put it, that people can get prescribed from doctors or even over the counter? So yeah, I didn't pose any questions like that, and I should have, but I didn't. It's okay, I struggled with this book, so it kind of made sense that I did not. So, that is my discussion for Limitless by Alan Glynn. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I did not enjoy it. But for the month of February, so again, my book club is Well Read Till I'm Dead. I'm going to post that in my chat again right now. Go join my group. Boop. Boop. So, go join my book club, Well Read Till I'm Dead. Or if you just search on Facebook, Well Read Till I'm Dead Book Club. Till has 2 L's. And you can find us that way. Answer and agree to the questions to be able to join. Okay, so for the month of February, I have already finished it. We are reading The Hunger Games by Suzanne, and I have a really pretty edition of it. I'm already reading the second book. Our discussion will start on February 28th and end on the 7th or the 8th of March. I think it's the 7th of March. So, I won't do another live stream for our next read until the 8th or the 10th. I'm going to try to be more regular with the streaming because I'm really bad about that. I'm a big procrastinator. So, and hopefully the discussion for Hunger Games will go pretty well. I'm sure most people know what it's about. Katniss Everdeen lives in District 12, and their capital reaps children from the age of 12 to 16 or 12 to 18 to go in an arena and fight for their lives as a form of control of saying, look what we can do, we can take your family, sort of thing. It's really good. There is a love triangle, but it's not a bad love triangle. I really hate tropes of love triangles, although I don't like the decision in the end of the series because I have read this before. It's a pretty good book. It's fast, it's fun-paced, it's easy to read because it's young adult. So, and because I know I am doing this so late in the month and not announcing that this is the book we are reading and discussing in the month of February, I thought I'd go ahead and share what we are reading for March, and that is New Eden by Kishore Tipirani? I don't know. But basically, this is a book, I think literally a bug from outer space comes to Earth, and it's like a biological disaster pandemic thing going on, and I think like this will be a fun, interesting read because we have a pandemic coming on now. So, I've never read this book before though, so I don't know if it's any good. We'll find out. It's surprisingly thick. I thought it was going to be shorter, but yeah. That is the end of my stream. That's all I'm going to talk about today. So, I'll give you time for anybody watching to say goodbye. Because I think only Corlin's here. And me. I got 2 viewers. I think that one of those viewers is me. I gotta stay caffeinated. Alright. Well, that is... Oh no! I dropped my Hello Kitty Zippo lighter. Oh, thank you for the applause, Corlin. Thank you. I am wearing my beanie because my hair's a bit of a mess. But anyways, that is the end of my stream. I will see you guys next month, talking about the Hunger Games. Join my book club, Well Read Till I'm Dead. It's linked in the chat. It will be linked in my re-upload of this video to YouTube. Come discuss books. Come read with us. How do I stop? I forgot. Oh yeah, there's an end button. Alright, you have a great day. Bye.